I heard the laugh before I saw anything else. A low, breathy sound that didn't belong in my apartment at that hour, on that night, in that intimate tone. Rainwater dripped from my sleeves as I stepped inside, my clothes clinging to my skin after the storm I'd walked through. The hallway was dim, too quiet, too still except for the faint whisper coming from the living room. I froze, breath held, heartbeat pounding so loudly it felt like it echoed off the walls. I wasn't supposed to be home yet. The scent of jasmine, my sister's perfume, hung in the air like a ghost I hadn't invited. Something inside me tightened. My fingers curled around the strap of my bag, but it slipped from my shoulder and thudded onto the floor, the soft sound carrying down the hallway like a warning. The whisper stopped. I took 3 steps forward. Then 2 faces appeared in the doorway. Daniel's first. Then Maya's. My boyfriend and my sister. Standing close. Too close. Their expressions were pale, guilty, panicked in different ways. His shirt was inside out. Her hair was a mess, her cheeks flushed like she'd been running, or like she'd been doing something far worse. My throat went dry. I didn't trust my voice, so I didn't speak at all. I just stared at them, waiting for reality to make sense again. It didn't. Daniel tried to smile, but it twitched into something pathetic. "You're home early," he said softly. Maya's eyes filled instantly, her lips parting in a trembling half-plea. I didn't know. "What?" I finally managed, my voice brittle as glass. "Is going on?" Neither answered. And that silence, thick, suffocating, explosive, told me everything. Maya stepped forward, wiping at her tears. "I'm sorry," she whispered. The apology didn't soothe. It didn't clarify. If anything, it made the sharp, metallic taste of betrayal rise in my mouth even faster. "You said you had rehearsal," I said quietly. She swallowed hard. "I did. I just came here after." "Why?" My voice wavered. "What were you doing here, Maya?" Daniel glanced at her nervously, like they needed their stories to match before speaking. My stomach twisted at how familiar they suddenly looked. 2 people sharing a secret that didn't include me. He cleared his throat. "We were just talking." "Talking?" I repeated, staring at his inside-out shirt. He tugged at the fabric self-consciously. The air thickened until I couldn't breathe. I had survived being kicked out at 18. I had survived 3 jobs, sleeping in a friend's basement, watching my entire life get handed to Maya like she was the chosen one. I had survived rebuilding myself from nothing. But this betrayal wrapped in familiarity, felt like someone was punching through the walls I'd spent years constructing. "Talking," I said again, quieter this time. "About what?" Daniel's jaw tightened. "About you." My laugh came out sharp, hollow. "Of course. She was worried about you," he continued. "She said you've been distant, overwhelmed, working too hard." I told her I felt the same. Maya's voice cracked. "I just wanted to help. By coming to my apartment? Alone? With my boyfriend." My voice rose before I could stop it. Maya flinched. "You didn't mean to get caught," I whispered. Her face crumpled. "No. I swear that's not." "How long?" I asked Daniel. "Has this been going on?" He looked at Maya again. That was my answer. "Daniel," I said, my voice trembling with rage I could barely contain. "How long?" His shoulders sagged. "It wasn't planned. It wasn't anything serious. It just happened." 3 months, Maya whispered, breaking into a sob the moment she said it. My knees went weak. 3 months. 90 days. A quarter of a year. While I was juggling deadlines, while I was celebrating my promotion, while I was making dinner for both of them at family gatherings, this was happening. The betrayal hit me like a physical force. I grabbed the edge of the wall to steady myself. "I need you both to leave," I said quietly. Daniel stepped forward. "Wait, listen." "No," I pulled back from his touch like it burned. "Get out." Maya reached for me, her fingers trembling. "Please just hear me." "I didn't mean." "You keep saying that," I snapped. "But you came here, didn't you?" She broke completely then, sobbing into her hands. For a moment, some part of me, the part that still saw her as the little sister I used to braid hair for, ached for her. But the rest of me was too shattered, too raw. "I can't look at either of you right now," I whispered. Daniel lingered for a moment, tears in his eyes, but I didn't care. I didn't want his sadness. I didn't want Maya's regret. I wanted my life back, the one that felt stable, safe, real. He left without another word. Maya stayed. Please, she cried softly. Don't hate me. I already hate myself. I looked at her. Really looked. The girl who got everything I lost. The girl our parents protected at the cost of my future. The girl I tried to forgive. The girl who shattered me again. You need to go home, I said coldly. She nodded, hiccuping through her tears, and stumbled out the door. When the door shut, the silence collapsed over me like a heavy, unbreathable blanket. I sank onto the floor and let the grief tear through me. I cried until my lungs hurt, until my face burned, until there was nothing left but a hollow ache spreading through my chest. I didn't sleep that night, or the next, or the night after. By the fourth day I was running on caffeine, bitterness, and a numbness that felt like armor. So when I opened my work email and saw the subject line, I almost laughed at the cosmic cruelty of it. Interview confirmation. Applicant. Maya Porter. My sister. Applying for a job in my department. I stared at the screen, stunned, the absurdity both painful and darkly ironic. I opened her resume. She had no idea I worked here. No idea her application would land on my desk. No idea she was about to walk into my office and face me across the table. I almost forwarded it to another manager. Almost. But something deep inside me, a mix of wounded pride, unanswered questions, and the desperate need for clarity, stopped my hand. She owed me the truth. And for the first time in my life, I had a position of power over her. I scheduled the interview. And waited. I barely recognized myself the morning Maya was scheduled to come in for the interview. I looked composed, hair pinned neatly, blazer crisp, hands steady as I organized the portfolio sheets on the conference table. But inside something trembled. Something raw. Something not yet healed. I kept wondering if she knew. If she'd seen my name on the confirmation email. If she'd rehearsed some explanation or apology in the mirror. Or if she thought the universe was giving her another chance to step into a life that had once been set up for her at my expense. 9 o'clock approached like a held breath. The door clicked open. She stepped inside and stopped dead. Her lips parted, her face draining of color. She looked smaller than I remembered, less polished, less radiant, more fragile. Her eyes shone with instant tears. You, she whispered. I gestured to the seat across from me. My voice stayed calm, professional, detached. Everything I wasn't feeling. Please sit. She obeyed slowly, her hands shaking so badly she nearly dropped her folder. For a moment neither of us spoke. The air between us was thick, tense, heavy with everything we hadn't said that night. I didn't know, she finally breathed. I swear, if I had known you worked here, I cut her off. Let's begin. Her mouth closed. She nodded stiffly. I started with the standard questions. Her voice wavered, but she answered. She talked about her college work, her minor internships, her desire to contribute to something meaningful. I listened with a blank expression, but inside, every word scraped against old wounds. She avoided looking directly at me, her gaze darting between her hands and the table, like facing me hurt too much. Or maybe she thought she didn't deserve to. I wasn't sure which version of that truth I preferred. After a few minutes I put my pen down. You said in your cover letter that you want to build a future you can be proud of. Why now? Her throat bobbed. Because I've made mistakes. And I don't want my life to keep being defined by them. What mistakes? I asked softly. She swallowed hard. Her eyes glimmered. She hesitated too long before speaking. I know you hate me, she whispered. Hearing it spoken aloud hit somewhere deep inside me. A bruise pressed too soon. I didn't respond. I waited. She took a shaky breath. I don't blame you. I'd hate me too. Still I said nothing. Her voice cracked. I didn't come here to beg for a job. I didn't even know this was your company. I just want to take responsibility for my life for once. That wasn't something you cared about before, I said. Her face twisted. I know. Silence stretched like a wire pulled too tight. Then she said something I didn't expect. You didn't see everything that night. My pulse jolted. Don't. She shook her head. Please. Let me say this. You deserve the truth. Even if it's too late. I didn't tell her to stop. She wiped her cheek with the back of her hand, gathering courage. I didn't go there to be with him. I went to talk to him about you. I stared at her. About me? She nodded slowly. You've been distant for weeks. You barely answered my messages. You were exhausted all the time. You missed dinners. You missed Mom's birthday. You weren't yourself. I thought your relationship was falling apart, and you were too scared to say anything. I wanted to deny it, but her words pressed into memories I hadn't revisited. I had been pulling away, not from Daniel but from everyone. I'd been buried in work, in survival. And Daniel told me, she continued, that he felt the same, that he was worried, that he didn't know how to reach you. A painful heat rose in my chest. So that justified what you did? No, she whispered. Nothing justifies that. But I need you to understand, I wasn't trying to steal him. I was trying to help. And then he kissed me. She squeezed her eyes shut like she couldn't believe she was admitting it. I pulled away. He said he was confused, that he connected with me because we talked more, because I understood him. I told him he was out of his mind, that he needed to fix things with you. I wanted to call her a liar. I wanted to hold on to the version of events that made her the villain. It was easier that way, cleaner. But something in her voice, shaking bitter with regret, felt real. And the night you walked in? I whispered. He asked me to come over so we could talk one more time. I shouldn't have gone. I regret it every day. But we weren't doing anything. Not then. You walked in before it could get worse. Worse. The word stabbed deeper than I expected. Why didn't you tell me? My voice cracked without permission. Her eyes lifted, full of pain. Would you have believed me? No. Not then. Not in the chaos. Not in the hurt. I exhaled shakily. You still betrayed me. Yes, she said, tears falling again. I did. And I'm sorry. I will be for the rest of my life. That silence was different from the others, softer, less sharp, but no less heavy. I gathered myself. As your interviewer, I have to make a decision. She straightened instinctively, trying to look composed even as her tears trembled on her lashes. You're qualified, I said honestly. You work hard. You care about people. You're creative. But this job requires boundaries, stability, emotional resilience. She swallowed. And right now, I continued, you're not ready. Her breath hitched, but she didn't argue, didn't beg, didn't crumble. She nodded slowly, bravely, accepting the consequences. I understand, she whispered. I walked her to the door. She paused before stepping out. I hope someday we can talk again, she said softly. Not about the past. Just as sisters. I didn't promise her anything. I just said, someday. She left with quiet footsteps, carrying her shame like a physical weight. I thought that was the end, but endings are rarely so simple. 2 weeks later, an envelope appeared on my desk with no return name. Inside was a letter from a private firm, one that had interviewed Maya the same week she came to us. They thanked the hiring manager for unknowingly providing context that aligned with information their investigators had uncovered. The letter stated that Daniel had been approaching multiple women, professionally and personally, under false pretenses, manipulating them, testing boundaries, searching for emotional vulnerabilities he could exploit. The letter thanked us for our input, thanked her really, and said that because of what Maya disclosed, several women were warned before entering professional contracts with him. I sat there, stunned, the letter shaking in my hand. Maya hadn't just wandered into trouble. She had helped expose him. She had protected people without knowing it. And suddenly, the memory of her tearful confession in the interview room didn't feel like manipulation. It felt like someone breaking under the weight of truth she carried too long. For the first time in years, something inside me loosened. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But something gentler. Maybe this wasn't the end. Maybe for the first time we were finally standing in the same truth. Maybe that was enough to start something new.